Hi, ladies. So this takes a minute to load up here when I come live on Zoom. So I'm going to give it a second to catch up here. But good morning. Good morning. So in case, I'm going to start right away, but in case you guys are new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Lindsay O'Brien, and I help women heal from toxic relationships so they can find peace, happiness, and real love. All right, guys, let me see here. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we are going to get into this right away. How to move on from a breakup and drop the guilt. Okay. So let's see. Let me get on here. How are you guys doing, by the way? Feel free to comment while we are doing this live. Okay. So let me bring up my presentation here. Oop. Okay. So let's get started here. How to drop the guilt after a breakup. So this is a question and an issue that comes up over and over again, and that's why I wanted to go into it here today. So oftentimes in these toxic relationships, there's a lot of guilt, right? Especially if you identify yourself as being an empath, someone who feels a lot of emotions, who feels other people's emotions. You probably feel this more intensely because for the most part, the people that we've been involved with are usually very troubled people. Do you guys know what I mean? Not always, but very often they've experienced a lot of trauma themselves. They've had very difficult lives. And so, and there's often a lot of guilt tripping and manipulation that goes on in these relationships. And so all of these things tend to bring up a lot of guilt. So today I'm going to talk about how to move on from a breakup without some of this guilt. I'm going to tell you guys some things that you may not be aware of that should help to release some of these feelings that you're experiencing. So the first thing to understand here to drop some of this guilt is to understand the cycle of abuse. And by this I mean that it won't change. So you could not have changed the outcome of this relationship. If your partner was abusive, you were not the problem here. A lot of times our partners will tell us that if only you had done this, things would have been different. If only you were XYZ, I wouldn't have acted the way that I did. Or they might say that you were the problem, or that you were crazy, or you were toxic. Lots and lots of things that your partners could tell you. Basically anything to make you believe that you could have changed their behavior or had an effect on it. And this is just simply not true. Okay? These patterns, abusive patterns, if you were in an abusive relationship, they are highly resistant to change, extremely resistant to change. These patterns involve a lot of entitlement, which by the nature of how entitlement works, it's not going to change. It's extremely resistant to change. So it isn't true that you could have changed the outcome here of this relationship. It isn't true that if you acted a certain way or did this better or whatever they had told you, that the relationship could have worked. No, that is not how this works. So this is exactly what abuse is, making you believe that you could have changed their behavior when in fact that is not true. Okay? That's what abuse is. It makes you believe that things could have been different when they could not have. So understand that you could not and never will be able to change their behavior. If their behavior is going to change, they are the only ones who are going to make that happen. You have no control over it. Now, we could say, is anyone perfect in a relationship? No, of course not. Everyone has things they can work on and improve. But if your partner was abusive, the issue was not you. And you could not have changed it. Okay? So, oh, by the way, if you guys are, I'm always curious to see who is watching live and who is watching the replay. So put down in the comments if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. Okay, so the next thing to help you let go of some of this guilt is that once you leave the relationship, you are no longer emotionally responsible for your ex, for this person you were with. So there's often a lot of manipulation going on in these relationships, right? Where your partner might say to you, like, if you leave me, I'm going to be alone. I'll have no one. I've even heard of people that have threatened suicide, like serious manipulation here. So what is helpful to remember is that this person you're with is an adult. They are fully capable of getting their own support and reaching out to other people, to new sources, to old sources, just like you have. Now, is this going to be easy for them? Probably not. But that doesn't mean they're not capable of doing it. Was it, for many of you, it might not have been easy to reach out for help and get support. But you did it. You did it. So you can remind yourself that your exes are fully capable of getting support. Look what you've done here. You're in a group watching this video, reaching out. You're getting some support. There's nothing that's stopping them from doing the same thing. There's plenty of therapists that they can go to. There's plenty of coaches. There's plenty of counselors. And if they tell you that they don't have money for that, don't buy that either. There's plenty of free resources out there. You're watching this video for free. This group is free. These are just some examples. So once you leave the relationship, you are no longer emotionally responsible for this person. They can reach out just like you did. This is the transition period. Now that you guys aren't together, you get your support over here and they get their support over here apart from you. Okay. All right. So the next thing that can help you to let go of some of this guilt is to understand that you are not a bad person for deciding that a relationship is no longer for you. It actually makes you courageous and wise. So let me go into this a little more here. So a relationship takes two people to work. Both people have to want to be in it. And if one person doesn't, there is no relationship. That's how it works. That's the reality of this here. You do not owe anyone a relationship. So I talked about this a little bit earlier this week. Getting into a relationship is not a life sentence. Like I said, then if you want to be with someone for the rest of your life, beautiful. You can do that. But you don't have to be. Like I said, it's not a life sentence. You are free to change your mind. You are free to grow. You are free to evolve and realize the relationship isn't working for you anymore. Or maybe it never did, but you may have ignored that and continued on anyway. Yes, there will be pain for you and the other person when you separate, but I can promise you this: if your relationship was toxic, you will be much happier in the end leaving this relationship. We all have to do what's best for us as individuals and people. And deciding that something is no longer working for you or is hurting you or is unhealthy for you, it does not make you a bad person. Again, it makes you courageous and wise because you're setting yourself up for a much better future. Okay. So then the next thing to remember to help you to alleviate some of this guilt is that staying connected doesn't help either of you. You know, a lot of times our exes might say, please still stay in touch with me. Let's stay friends. Let's still stay connected. And so you may not want to, and then that guilt comes up, right? Like, oh, like they really want me to. I should be reaching out to them. I should be there for them. But it doesn't staying connected because you feel bad for them or you want to minimize the pain for them or check up on them after a breakup, it actually prevents both of you from being able to heal and move on into your new life, no longer with this person. It might seem like you're helping, but you're actually not. Trust that your former partner will do what they need to do to heal, just like you will. Or maybe they won't, Maybe they will stay stuck and in pain. But this goes back to, the other point I made. You have no control over this. You don't. We would like to think that we do, but we truly don't. You can't make them heal, and you can't make them do what they need to do, what would truly be helpful for them. You can't make anyone do anything. So this really is a process of surrender here. Again, you can't make anyone do anything. So it's really like it's like a spiritual process. You surrender the outcome of this person's life because you don't have any control over it anyway. Probably if you were in a toxic and abusive relationship, you probably tried for a long time to get this person to change, to get them to go to therapy, to get them to work on themselves, to get them to heal. Did it work? Probably not, right? So you surrender the outcome because you don't have control over it anyway. And if you stay connected, you are actually prolonging the pain for yourself and for this other person. So letting go and not staying connected is really what helps both of you to move on in the long run, big picture here. So you can let go of the guilt for not wanting to stay in touch here, okay? All right. So, to end this live here, if you are struggling with guilt or with limiting contact with your ex or moving forward without them, apply for my one-on-one coaching program. Because, people like to say, time heals all wounds, right? People say that all the time. I'm in the groups, all day, and people are always telling me, they're always saying, time heals, just give it time. Not true. Time doesn't heal all wounds if you're not using that time to take action steps towards your healing, right? What really helps you heal is making the most of your precious time by releasing these emotions instead of staying stuck in them, okay? Time does not heal all wounds. There's things you need to do to move on from these relationships, especially if you were in a toxic or abusive relationship. So the Living Free program, it helps you release the exact emotional energies you're struggling with, like guilt or shame or anything else that are keeping you feeling stuck and in a trauma bond, so that you can have peace of mind when you lay your head down at night and be able to smile and laugh again. Okay, guys, let me stop sharing my screen here. And I'm going to see if there are any comments here or if you guys have any questions. Oh, okay. Bree's having trouble with the internet. Yeah, I apologize for that. But yeah, okay. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will be talking to you soon. All right. Take care.